Hey guys, welcome back to the Professor Oaks Challenge. I know that last time I said that I was going to be doing Pokemon Heart Gold, but I literally have put 50 more hours into it than I've put into this entire challenge so far, and in that game I have only just received the Fog Badge from Morty. So yeah, that's not gonna work out, because it'll probably take another 2 to 3 months for that video to even be done. So, in place of that, I'll be going onwards to do this, Coliseum, and XD. And for the 5 people that like the Mega Man content, I'm still working on it. I just need a little bit more time to make it better. Anyway, I'll be playing Alpha Sapphire this time around since I've never actually played this one since I've only beaten Omega Ruby. As an overview, this is probably a pretty difficult challenge when it comes to trying to complete it in a short period of time. Anyway, let's get right into it though, since this is going to be very, very long. Starting off, we exit from the back of a moving truck and arrive in Hoenn. And quickly I'm able to meet one of my rivals for the game, May. I dart immediately towards Route 101 and get a Mudkip from my starter, battling a Poochyena to save Professor Birch. I take it down and keep the Mudkip I used to battle it, but we can't add it to the total just yet since we don't have the Pokedex. I go ahead and obliterate May and go back to Little Root to obtain the Pokedex, allowing me to add Mudkip to the total. May gives me some Pokeballs and it's time for the challenge to come in full swing. And by swing, I mean Mike Tyson hook uppercut combo that'll knock out 90% of the planet. The most important thing we get early on is the Dex Nav upgrade, where we're able to track Pokemon and chain them. This is extremely useful because I'm able to chain until I get a Pokemon that is 10 levels above the normal wild encounter, reducing many hours of grinding. I capture a Wurmple and Poochyena on Route 101 and a Zigzagoon and Wingull on Route 103, adding 4 to the Dex total. Another great thing about Generation 6 games and onward is that the EXP scaling from Gen 5 is gone, and you can gain EXP from catching Pokemon rather than knocking them out, so it really streamlines the process. From here, Route 102 is home to Lotad and Alpha Sapphire, and C-Dot and Omega Ruby, as well as Surskit, which was a 1% encounter that literally took so long that I evolved Mudkip at level 16 into Marshtomp. I also caught 2 Ralts, one female and one male. I need one to be male so I can evolve it later into Gallade. Speaking of Ralts, we need to get through the introduction to Wally to go over to Route 104 so I can catch Tailo. Petalburg Forest is where I get to catch Slackoth, and this is where I decided to get a Slackoth at level 15 so I would be able to reduce the need for grinding. I made sure to capture a Shroomish, Cascoon, and Silcoon. After this, I get into the first encounter with Team Aqua and grab the EXP share from the scientist we rescued. Normally he gives you a Great Ball in the original games, but we get the same EXP share from X and Y, so we can easily train Pokemon for this challenge. That's why I'm willing to catch Silcoon and Cascoon, since they don't have any attacking moves but they don't even need to be in battle to evolve, rather than taking the risk of getting 4 Cascoons in a row from lacking Wurmples. After visiting Rustboro City, I decided it was time to handle the super training I needed to do. I went through numerous levels of it in order to get the secret super training regimens, which are only available after you max out a Pokemon's EVs. And for this early in the game, it's absolutely insane. I give up about 80% of the way there, and went to Route 16 to capture a Nincada, Whismur, and Skitty. Make sure to have an empty slot and a regular Pokeball in your inventory when Nincada evolves so that you can get Shedinja. Now those are the last catches, onto the only trade of this section. You can trade a Slackoth for Makahita in Rustboro City, adding another to the total. And in an effort to keep this shorter, I'm just going to list the evolutions rapid fire with the total time it took to do it all, and explain the hardest 2 or 3 Pokemon in the section. Also, I won't be saying when I switch out Pokemon, since every time something evolves, I'm always going to travel back to the Pokemon Center to do so. Before the grinding, I decided to get Marshtomp's affection to 2 hearts so that I could get it 1.2 times EXP. Looking back, I probably should have done the same thing for Slackoth and Exploud, but meh, it didn't really take that long anyway. Lastly, I evolved Skitty into Delcatty with a Moonstone before getting into the grinding. So within about 25 hours, I was able to grind Poochyena to Mightyena at level 18, Lotad into Lombre at level 14, and a Waterstone into Ludicolo, Cascoon into Duxtox at level 10, Silcoon into Beautifly at level 10, Slackoth into Vigoroth at level 18, Whismur into Loudred at level 20, Ninkata into Nidjask at level 20, which splits into Shedinja, Makihita into Yahariyama at level 24,
Zigzagoon into Lanoon at level 20,
Marshtomp into Swampert at level 36, Ralts into Curly at level 20, and into Gallade with a Dawnstone, Shroomish into Breloom at level 23, Wingull into Pelipper at level 25, Vigoroth into Slacking at level 36, the second Curlia into Gardevoir at level 30, Surskit into Masquerain at level 22, Tailo into Swallow at level 22, and finally Loudred into Exploud at level 40, adding
21
Pokemon to the total. This took around 26 total hours from game start to Roxanne, which was surprisingly shorter than I expected. This is mostly due to the EXP share, since I literally didn't have to send out 3/4 of the Pokemon that I was training, seeing as the EXP sponges of Slacking, Swampert, and Exploud were the ones getting sent out the most. It really wasn't hard at all, though the repetition can run you down if you do it for hours at a time like I did, since I gotta make this video or else how are you watching this? From here, I was able to take down Roxanne and receive the Stone Badge for my efforts. I traveled back to Rustturf Tunnel and defeated the Team Aqua Grunts so that I could get the Devon parts back. After giving those to Devon Stone, I received the Buzznaff so I could rematch trainers. I went back to the southern part of Route 104 so that I could travel with Mr. Briny to Dewford Town and grab an old rod from the fisherman here. So I went back to Petalburg to grab a Magikarp and Goldeen. Grabbing Goldeen reminded me that critical captures were a thing, which is a rare form of capture that skips the first 2 shakes of a Pokeball to only have to do the RNG check for the third shake and capture, which is pretty nice to make this whole challenge easier, especially as it continues to increase in chance for more Pokemon registered in the Pokedex. It's a great addition, and I'm more than happy to take advantage of it during this challenge. I traveled back to Dewford to fish up a Tentacool, and went into Granite Cave in order to capture a Zubat, Abra, and Geodude. That was all the catches for this section, so with about 10 hours of grinding, I evolved Abra into Kadabra at level 16, Zubat into Golbat at level 22,
Magikarp into Gyarados at level 20,
Tentacool into Tentacruel at level 30, Golbat into Crobat with max happiness, Geodude into Graveler at level 25, and Goldeen into Seeking at level 33, adding
7
to the total. We can't get Golem or Alakazam because we can't trade. I love the grinding now, seeing that I have a Masquerain with Sweet Scent, which immediately summons a Horde battle, which I can take out immediately with Swampert's Rock Slide, making it the fastest EXP gain while in this section. Taking down Brawly nets us the Knuckle Badge, and you may be also asking, wait a second, can't you just skip Brawly and go to Slateport after talking to Steven? No, unfortunately they took it out of this version. Go back to Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald if you want to do that. So, we immediately go do that after finishing Brawly and travel to Slateport City. I immediately talk to this lady to get a Sea, Rose, and Pure Incense for future breeding. There's not much to do here for now, so going to Route 10 nets me a Plusle, Electrike, Gulpin, Voltorb, Magnemite, and 2 Oddish that I got at level 23, so I wouldn't have to grind. While I was searching for Minun and Plusle hordes, I managed to evolve both Oddishes into Glooms, leading me to do the secret super training for a Leaf Stone to evolve into a Vileplume, and a Sunstone to evolve into Blossom. I finally captured a Minun after about 40 minutes of searching, and I hated the way I had to capture this, seeing as it was only encounterable through hordes in Alpha Sapphire. It's the same way with Plusle in Omega Ruby. I'm glad they didn't do this with any other Pokemon in the game. I managed to drop off the Devon parts to Captain Stern and handle Team Aqua in Slateport City. Before leaving, I'm interrupted by Pokemon contest sensation Lycia, who I had no idea was Wallace's niece until this very video. I participated in a contest and was given a cosplay Pikachu by a Pokemon breeder nearby. Which is weird because this Pikachu can't even breed or evolve, so it stays useless except for adding Pikachu to the total. Traveling north through Route 110, where Team Aqua was blocking off, I battle Mayagan and continue easily to Mauville City, where I grab a Mach Bike. Battling on the cycling road allows my Gulpim to evolve in a Swalot at level 26. I traveled back to Granite Cave now that I have the Mach Bike, and I went to the second basement floor of the cave
to capture an Eren.
And a Sableye if you're playing Alpha Sapphire. Omega Ruby players can get Mawile here instead. Traveling all the way back to Mauville City allows us to go to Route 117 to the left and capture Meryl and Volbeat. But I went back to the city to battle Wally to get HM06 Rock Smash. Going back to Route 117 means I can catch myself a female Roselia that I can immediately evolve into Roserade with a shiny stone. While I was biking to hatch the eggs I bred with the incenses I bought earlier, I did some trainer rematches to evolve my Voltorb into Electrode at level 30. I decided to attempt to find the 4% encounter of Illumise, and evolved Meryl into Azumarill at level 18 during the hunt. I gave up for the time being and hatched Azurill and Budew, adding 2 more Pokemon to the total. Going back to the Illumise hunt, I managed to evolve my Electrike into Manectric at level 26 before finally finding one about a half hour later. I hate hunting for very rare encounters. Anyway, now it's grind time. There's not much, so I get Magnemite to Magneton at level 30, Arn and Delaron at level 32,
and Lyran into Agron at level 42.
Only taking about 3 hours or so since they were already relatively close to evolving. With 42 hours and 23 minutes on the clock, I fought Watson and nabbed the Dynamo badge. Now that I'm able to use Rock Smash outside of battle, I went back to Granite Cave again to capture a Nose Pass since it's only available when you use Rock Smash. I went all the way back to Mauville and went through Route 111, being unable to get into the desert area without the Go Goggles, so I can't catch anything here just yet. Route 112 houses an interaction with May where I get HM04 Strength, as well as being able to capture Machop and Numel. I made sure to track them both down with the Dex Nav since they both evolve more than 10 levels after they are normally catchable, producing quite a bit of grinding. Fiery Path is home to Slugma, Grimer, Torkoal, and Coughing. After exiting, I fight one trainer and evolve Machop into Machoke at level 28. Entering Route 113 from the east allows me to meet up with May again, as well as capture Spinda, Sandshrew, and Skarmory. Is what I would say if I didn't run out of Great Balls. I evaded as much as possible to get to Full Arbor Town in order to purchase more and capture the Skarmory that dared to evade me earlier. Moving over to Route 115, it allows me to capture Seviper and Swablu, which gives my Numel the last bit of experience it needed to evolve into Camerupt. I made sure to catch a Swablu with the Dex Nav while I was doing that.
I defeated the trainers to raise Sandshrew to level 22, allowing it to evolve into Sand Slash.
I went into Meteor Falls afterwards, and before I handled Team Aqua, I found myself a Lunatone within about 10 minutes and caught it, adding another to the total. Some Team Aqua grunts decided to engage May and I in a double battle, revealing we both had Slugmas at the same time, which was kinda funny, but we destroyed them and I went back through Fiery Path to reach the south side of Route 1. Route 1. What is a number 1? How do you even make that kind of mistake during... I took the cable car to Mount Chimney, where I got to take on more Team Aqua grunts, along with their leader, Archie, giving me the meteorite. They clear out, which let me access Jagged Pass, which I managed to capture a Spoink while I'm in the area. After exiting, I dart towards Lava Ridge Town, where I get an egg for a Wynot. And now that we've gotten just about everything for this section, it's time for the grinding. So within about 5 hours, I evolve Wynot into Wobbuffet at level 15, Coughing into Wheezing at level 35, Swablu into Altaria, also at level 35,
Slugma into Magcargo at level 38,
Spoink into Grumpig at level 32, and Grimer into Muck at level 38. Luckily, now that we're getting wild Pokemon near the level 20s, it's much easier to train stuff, so somebody that would normally take hours on end earlier in the game takes much less time. And with 104 Pokemon in our possession, I'm ready to take on Flannery, which I destroy with Swampert, earning ourselves the Heat Badge. After heading outside, May hands me the Go Goggles, and I went straight to Desert Route 111 and caught all of the available Pokemon for this section, getting Cacnea, Trapinch, picking up the Claw Fossil,
and Voltoy.
Then I immediately traveled back to Rustboro City to revive the fossil for an Anorith. That's literally all of the catches for this section, so after about 4 hours of grinding, I was able to evolve Cacnea into Cacturn at level 32, Baltoy into Claydol at level 36, Trapinch into Vibrava at level 35, and Anorith into Armaldo at level 40. Lastly, Vibrava into Flygon at level 45. This was pretty easy despite the evolutions being at a somewhat high level, especially for Armaldo and Flygon. It really wasn't too bad though, seeing as I had multiple Pokemon with multi-targeting moves to grind on. So, we're ready to take on Norman, the main character's father. Going back to Laveridge actually allows us to talk to May, and we travel back to Petalburg in an automated cutscene, which was pretty convenient. After Norman's obliteration, we get the Balance Badge. We're getting closer and closer to the bane of my existence. I left the gym and immediately ran into Wally, and his uncle, I think. I haven't really been paying attention. They gave me a HM03 Surf, meaning I can do quite a bit from here on out with catching. From here, I traveled over to Meteor Falls, and on the left side that sends you to Route 115, I decided to go up and catch myself a female Jigglypuff, which I immediately get a Moonstone through Secret Super Training to evolve it into Wigglytuff. I went back to Rustboro and opened up a shortcut between there and Verdanturf Town, allowing for faster land travel around the region. Since it's bordering on Route 117, I decided to just breed Wigglytuff and get myself an Igglybuff egg, but I don't immediately hatch it. Instead, I went to the entrance of New Mauville with my Magneton and Nosepass, leveling each of them one time to get Magnezone and Probopass respectively. Afterwards, I hatched the egg to get an Igglybuff. I decided it's about time I move on to a new area, so I surf over the patch of water on Route 118 to see Steven, the champion of the Hoenn region, for the first time. Somehow, Latios comes down and alerts us that Latias is in trouble. This is the reverse in Omega Ruby, but it's essentially the same plot thread. I told Steven I would handle Team Aqua myself since both the Grunt and Admin Matt wanted to battle, but he took it as a joke and continued to battle in a double battle with me. Therefore, I knocked out his Matang with an Earthquake, as well as both Matt and the Grunt's Pokemon to prove my point, since I don't like options being forced on me in a video game. Thanks, Steven. Now die. After handling Team Aqua myself, I'm able to receive Latias. That's right, folks, the first legendary of the game is simply handed to us. No challenge whatsoever. Oh well. After getting the Mega Bracelet and Latiasite, I'm able to get the Good Rod from a fisherman, adding more encounters for me to catch. I used the Good Rod to catch a Carvana on Route 118,
along with a Kecleon in the grass in the same route.
I also went back to Petalburg City to grab a Corphish, adding yet another to the total. Going back all the way to Route 119, I'm able to capture a Tropius, and I fished for a Feebas around a large rock on the route, as it's the only place at night to capture one. The Weather Institute is housed on this route as well, so I cleared it out of Team Aqua Grunts, receiving a cast form at the end. Cast form is actually pretty important this time around, but we'll be needing it later. After this, I went ahead and fought trainers on the route, getting Carvana to level 30, where it evolved into Sharpedo. Before I was able to get into Fortree City, I battled May again with no trouble, finally allowing me to carve a path to one of the most unique cities in a Pokemon game. There are only 2 more captures we have left. Immediately to the right of Fortree is Route 120, housing Absol in the grass, and Barboach in the water with the Good Rod. I made sure to use the Devon Scope from Steven, and then I went back to Route 110 to use the Good Rod, which I managed to evolve my Gourfish into Crawdaunt while attempting to capture a Wailmer as well. Now that we're done with the catches, I'm able to travel back to Slateport City where I can use the blue berries, no not blueberries, blue as in the blue color berries, and use them to make beauty Pokeblocks in order to max out Phoebus' beauty in order to evolve it into Milotic in 1 level. Now it's Traditional Grinding Fest 2019. I'm running out of ways to transition into grinding sections. Segues are really difficult. There's not much to evolve here since I've evolved basically everything in this section already, but we have 2 Pokemon left. Barboach into Whiscash at level 30, and Whalmer into Whalelord at level 40. This means I can take out Winona and take the Feather Padge for my troubles. There's not much to do for Route 120 anymore, so I continue to Route 121 and capture a Shuppet. And now, it's time for the Safari Zone. This was fine in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I'm literally being driven crazy as we speak with Heart Gold's Safari Zone. I'll explain it in that video, but know that it is the only reason that video wasn't done before this one. Anywho, I needed to swap bikes to get to some areas here, but I was able to capture a female Pikachu, which immediately got the Thunderstone treatment into a Raichu, Doduo, Psyduck, a female Xatu, Heracross, a female Donphan, Girafarig, Rhyhorn, and Pinsir, adding a staggering 9 Pokemon to the dex total. Afterwards, I decided to do the breeding for this section, hatching Pichu, Phanpy, and Natsu. From here, I figured it was time to go to Mount Pyre as it's the last available area until we clear out Team Aqua. So, while I'm here, I captured Duskull in the interior, and heading to the exterior, I'm able to capture Meditite and Vulpix. I made sure to grab a Dex Nav Meditite since it evolves at level 37, so I would only need to raise it by 1 level. I also just evolved Vulpix into Ninetales so that I could take it out of my party as quickly as possible using a Firestone. While I was back in Lily Cove, I decided to just fight May so I could access the department store to stock up and return to Mount Pyre. I was able to gain enough experience during that battle to evolve my Meditite into Medicham at level 37, and Psyduck into Golduck at level 33. During my battles with the Grunts on Mount Pyre, I was able to evolve Shuppet into Bayonet at level 37. The last thing I got from Mount Pyre was at the summit, where I was able to capture myself a female Chimecho for breeding. After Archie took the blue orb, I was gifted the red orb in return to combat him, and I figured now would be a good time to breed the Chimecho that I got on Mount Pyre with the pure incense in order to get a Chingling egg. But I don't hatch it just yet, as I wanted to continue the story. Somehow, Archie is able to steal a submarine and takes it back to the Aqua hideout on the outskirts of Lily Cove, which I immediately bust through since I'm bored and would like to get Archie to shut up. I kicked everyone's teeth in and evolved my Duskull into Dusclops at level 37. We can't get Dusknoir since we don't have the Reaper Cloth or a way to trade. I then grabbed the Master Ball on my way out and decided it was time that I'd do the rest of the catches for this section. I hatched the egg that contained the Chingling that I bred earlier, and I surfed over to Moss Deep City to grab the Super Rod. I went north into Shoal Cave to capture 2 Snorunt, one of them being female, Celio, Spheal, and immediately using a Dawnstone on the female Snorunt to evolve into Frostlass. I went south into Route 128 to capture a Love Disc, and traveling over to Pacificlog Town to trade my Blossom from a few sections ago for a Corsola so that I don't have to fish for one. Slightly to the left on Route 132 allowed me to catch Seadra and Horsey. Lily Cove City houses Staryu when you use the Super Rod, which I immediately evolve into a Starmie using a Water Stone. From here, I decided to take out most of the Water Route trainers for my grinding this section, evolving Rhyhorn into Rhydon at level 42, Celio into Walrein at level 44, and Snorunt into Glalie at level 42. And from here, we can challenge the gym. No wild battling required. I've also only been taking my Swampert into battle for most of these gym leaders, but this was a double battle, so I brought Walrein in and immediately destroyed their Solrock and Lunatone to obtain the Mind Badge, leading us into quite possibly the largest section in a Professor Oaks challenge that I will ever come across. Mr. Champion of Steel pulls me from in front of the gym to give me HMO 7 Dive and the Dave Scuba gear, which allows me to get the only Pokemon left before taking on the box Legendary, Groudon for Omega Ruby, and in my case, Kyogre for Alpha Sapphire. I'm able to dive and catch a Chinchou, Lantern, Clamperl, and Relicanth, adding 4 more to the dex total. From here, I use Dive to get to the Seafloor Cavern and destroy Team Aqua, including Archie, but he doesn't care and awakens Kyogre instead. Yay. After that mistake, I went to Sutopolis City and eventually charged into the Cave of Origin to capture a primal Kyogre, and oh my god, was this insane. I think I had about 4 resets on this legendary alone, which didn't give me much hope for the future, seeing as there's almost 20 more legendaries I had to catch in this section alone. But I was fortunate enough for this one to be the hardest one, giving me a well-deserved boost to the dex total of 1. This is where the game opens up quite a bit, seeing as we're able to get the national dex from Professor Birch before we even fight the 8th gym. This allows for more than double the amount of Pokemon we have in our possession currently, so let's get started on this craziness. Before we get into that, however, I did lose some footage, again. I said it wasn't going to happen, but I wasn't able to prevent my computer from just randomly crashing and corrupting the footage beyond repair. So, the only Pokemon I was unable to get footage for will be stated at the end, despite some continuity hiccups here and there. Now that I have the ability to soar with Mega Latias, I looked for the first Mirage spots, finding a Mirage Mountain where I'm able to capture a female Kricketune, female Fortress, and a Volibee, increasing the total by 3. From here, I didn't have any more Mirage spots to do, so I decided I would grab all of the Dex Nav exclusives throughout the entire region, grabbing Lillipup, Zorua, and Sewaddle on Route 101, Chatot and Shellos on Route 103, Tympole and Gothita on Route 102, Pidove on Route 104, Fantup, Paris, and Cottony in Petalburg Woods,
Clauncher,
Frillish and Krabby on Route 105, and if you're playing Omega Ruby, you'll get Skrelp rather than Clauncher. Timber, Axew, and Onyx are in Granite Cave, Trubbish on Route 110, Sandile, Dwebble, and Gibble on Route 111, Ponyta, 3 Tyrogues, and Sock on Route 112, and if you're playing Omega Ruby, you get Throw. Diglett and Rockarola in Fiery Path, Mankey in Jagged Pass, Scraggy on Route 113, and while I was capturing it, Lillipup evolved into Herdier at level 16. With this break in the catch-a-thon, we've added 29 Pokemon since getting the National Dex. Continuing on, Clefglee and Bluefalont are also on Route 113, Skorupi and Mischievous are on Route 114. I was recording this late, so the next morning provided another Mirage Cave, allowing me to capture a Ditto, Tynamo, and female Excadrill here. This was when I realized that the Nameless Cavern appeared. I didn't even mean to have Max Happiness Pokemon in my party for it, but I went in anyway, capturing myself an Azelf in about 10 minutes. Sewaddle also evolved into Swadloon with the experience gained from catching Azelf. I also decided to get a Duskstone and a Sunstone from Secret Super Training in order to evolve my newly caught Mischievous into Mismagius and Cottony into Whimsicott, increasing the total yet again. Now, if you bring Castform with you while you're soaring, you'll be able to catch yourself a Tornadus in Omega Ruby, or in my case, Thundurus in Alpha Sapphire. We can't get a Landorus, since we can't trade the other genie into this copy of the game. After catching that, I was able to go take on some trainers in Sutopolis City Gym, and evolved Swadloon into Leavanny through Max Friendship. I went back and grabbed all of my Tyrogues, pumped them full of vitamins, and evolved them into Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and Hitmontop, the last of which I somehow lost the footage for the evolution. Neat. I challenged the rest of the gym trainers and raised my Tynamo into Electric at level 39 and into Electros with a Thunderstone. From here, I grabbed 3 of my Max EV Pokemon and soared to the Pathless Plain to capture Cobalion, and 1 Ultra Ball I might add. I love easy legendaries like this. The next day, I went soaring and saw that Crescent Isle was available, so I stopped there and caught Cresselia, increasing the total by 1. Nameless Cavern and Pathless Plain were up again, so I went ahead and captured Mesprit and Virizion while they were available. Afterwards, I went back to breeding some more Pokemon I caught earlier, and evolved some of said bred Pokemon, evolving Kakuna into Beedrill, Clefairy into Clefable with a Moonstone, Growlithe into Arcanine with a Firestone, and hatching Drowsy, Seal, Shinx, Weedle, Pidgey, and Cleffa. I also went ahead and evolved the stuff that only needed one level to evolve, such as Bronzor into Bronzong, Mankey into Primeape, Luxio into Luxray, Timburr into Girder, and Paris into Parasect. I decided it was time to take out C. Mauville, so I evolved my Gibble there into Gabite at level 24 with some trainer battles around the area. Afterwards, I managed to get Spiritomb from a static encounter, and eventually a Lugia at the bottom of the ship. In Omega Ruby, you can get Ho-Oh from the peak of the ship instead. Also, yet another legendary that went in with just one Ultra Ball. Pretty lucky, I must say. After catching Ho-Oh or Lugia and having it in your party, you're able to access the Trackless Forest, which is home to Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, which I catch all of them within the hour. I decided it was time to start grinding some more of the Pokemon I caught from the DexNav exclusives while waiting for Mirage spots, evolving Sandile into Krokorok at level 29, Pidove into Tranquil at level 21, Krokorok into Krookodile at level 40, Diglett into Dugtrio at level 26, Axew into Fracture at level 38, Tranquil into Unfezant at level 32, Cubchoo into Beartic at level 37, Roggenrola into Boldore at level 25, Finneon into Luminion at level 31, Shellos into Gastrodon at level 30, Gabite into Garchomp at level 48, Aipom into Ambipom at level 32 with Double Hit, and Zorua into Zoroark at level 30. By this time, it was 8 PM, and I was able to go back to the Nameless Cavern to capture Uxie, ending my need for this Mirage spot. From here, I made sure to have all 3 Lake Guardians in my party to access a rift in the sky while soaring. I was able to capture Dialga from it without much trouble, but you'd get Palkia if you were playing Omega Ruby. From there, I went back to grinding, evolving Fracture into Haxorus at level 48, Xeno into Zweilous at level 50, Skorupi into Drapion at level 40, Deerling into Sawsbuck at level 34, Elgem into Behem at level 42, Frillish into Jellicent at level 40, Ponyta into Rapidash at level 40, Scraggy into Scrafty at level 39, Clauncher into Clawitzer at level 37, Vullaby into Mandibuzz at level 54, Gothita into Gothorita at level 32, Dwebble into Crustle at level 34, Pidgeotto into Pidgeot at level 36, Herdiander into Stoutland at level 32, Timpole into Palpitoad at level 25, Joltik into Galvantula at level 36, Gothorita into Gothitelle at level 41, Palpitoad into Seismitoad at level 36, Trubbish into Garbodor at level 36, Eevee into Umbreon with Max Happiness at night, and finally, after a multitude of hours of grinding, I got Zweilous to Hydreigon at level 64, which took about 320,000 XP to evolve from what level I had captured it at. From here, I decided to get Swampert to level 100, since I needed a level 100 Pokemon to encounter Zekrom during Soaring, or Reshiram if you were playing Mega Ruby. I was also able to evolve Baniri into Lopunny with Max Happiness during that capture. After Lopunny, I decided to go after more legendaries. Unlocking the legendary Golems, or the Regis if you prefer, which I can't say without thinking of this Regi, I'm able to capture Regice, Regirock, and Registeel. From here, I sent Soaring again since the clock struck midnight, and I was able to access another spot, capturing Munna and Porygon. I also did some rock smashing to get all the fossils needed, which I immediately restored into Ammonite, Aerodactyl, Cranidos, and Tortuga. In Omega Ruby, you get Kabuto, Shieldon, and Archon instead, Aerodactyl remaining the same. From here, I am able to go to the Pathless Plain again and capture Terrakion, giving me the last of the main Swords of Justice. From here, I got the idea to use Street Pass to gain some more Mirage spots, allowing me to capture everything else I needed for the spots, those being Darmanitan, Venomoth, Zebstrika, Larvesta, Petalil, Sunkern, Audino, Minccino, Tangela, Lamiao, Magby, Halfpeeny, Rufflet, Cherim, and Perugly. I also evolved a lot of these Pokemon, those being Sunkern into Sunflora with a Sunstone, Petalil into Lilligant with a Sunstone, Luna into Morsharna with a Moonstone, Minccino into Cincino with a Shiny Stone, Eevee into Espeon with Max Happiness during the day, Tangela into Tangrowth with Ancient Power, Happiny into Chansey with the Oval Stone, and Magby into Magmar in 1 level. From here, I did some breeding, hatching Darumaka, Venonat, Cherubi, and Blitzel. Back to catching, we've got Stantler, Unknown, Maractus, Elekid, Binacle, Cofagrigus, Clink, Persian, and Slowpoke. From here, I decided, you know what? I want Regigigas. And you know what I did? I stuffed Regigigas in a ball that was about 50 times less of the size of him and made him sit in my computer for the rest of its digital life. What fun! There's not much left, so let's start off with some more breeding. There's Yamask, Meowth. Oh hey, that's it, sick. Then we have more evolutions, consisting of Chansey into Blissey through Max Happiness, Slowpoke into Slowbro at level 37, Elekid into Electabuzz at level 30, Clink into Clang at level 38, Binacle into Barbaracle at level 39, Cranidos into Rampardos at level 30, Tortuga into Caracosta at level 37, Ammonite into Amistar at level 40, Clang into Klinklang at level 48, Rufflet into Braviary at level 54, Larvesta into Volcarona at level 59, and Eevee into Glaceon by 1 level next to the Ice Rock in Shoal Cave. Before I went on to fight Wallace, I did some last minute research to make sure I caught everything, which I didn't. There were a few Pokemon exclusive to Soaring. And because it's impossible for my computer to not crash while recording 100 plus hours of footage from a game at least once, I don't have any footage from attaining these Pokemon. So I managed to capture Drifloon and Murkrow, which I evolved Drifloon in 1 level to Drifblim, and Murkrow into Honchkrow with a Dusk Stone, Pineco from breeding Fortress, Kricketot by breeding Kricketune, Drillbur from breeding Excadrill, Kingler by evolving Krabby at level 28, Clefairy, Druddigon, and Dino through Dex, Nav, and Meteor Falls, 8 Eevees through Dex, Nav, on Route 116, Flareon by evolving Eevee with a Firestone, Jolteon by evolving Eevee with a Thunderstone, Vaporeon by evolving Eevee with a Waterstone, Leafeon by leveling Eevee once next to the Moss Rock in Petalburg Woods, Sylveon by getting level 2 of Affection in Pokemon Ami and leveling up with a Fairy-type move, Joltik, Rattata, and Deerling through Dex Nav on Route 117, Raticate by evolving Rattata at level 20,
You get Galvantula by raising Joltik to level 36, and Sawsbuck by raising Deerling to level 34.
Apom through Dex Nav on Route 118, Hypno and Elgyem through Dex Nav on Route 121, Finian and Alomomola through Dex Nav on Route 122, Growlithe and Bronzor through Dex Nav on Mount Pyre, Kakuna, Pidgeotto, and Baniri through Dex Nav in Safari Zone, and lastly Dugong, Delibird, and Cupchew through Dex Nav in Shoal Cave. Unfortunately, I also lost footage of grabbing Heatran in Scorched Slab 2, but it wasn't that hard, so I'm not too frustrated with it. I'd also count Latios since I got it in corrupted footage, but you technically need another game with the item, the Eon ticket, for it to pass you through Street Pass to get it, so I won't count it towards the total. At last, I finally destroyed Wallace and left with the Rain Badge. I think it's the Rain Badge. I don't even know. It's not in the script. After all of that, I went into this section with only one Pokemon to catch, Bagon. I couldn't get this earlier since I needed Waterfall, but after getting to the back of Meteor Falls, I got myself a Bagon, evolving into Shelgon in one level, and then into Salamence at level 50. It only took about an hour since I had the Mirage spot with Audino still on it. At this point, it's time to take down Victory Road, and I defeated Wally on it in about 15 minutes. And then I took down the Elite Four, going through Sydney, Phoebe, Glacia, Drake, and the champion Steven within another 20 minutes, claiming the title of champion. After an astoundingly long credit sequence, May challenges us to a battle which is designed to be much easier than the Elite Four, seeing as it's more story related, and after that we return to our home, making way for even more stuff to capture, seeing as we have the Delta episode to complete. We wake up in our house and see that there's a meteor shower that will be occurring, so the protagonist's parents give him the 2 tickets they were going to use so that he and May could use them. Or she and Brendan if you had chosen the female character. From here, you're able to talk to your mom and get the amulet coin. Afterwards, when you emerge from your house, Professor Birch will call out to you as if it was the beginning of the game. He allows us to grab a Johto starter.
This time I choose Totodile,
since it evolves into Feraligatr at level 30, rather than 32 for Meganium, or 36 for Typhlosion. It's not that big of a difference at this point in the game, but I really didn't care. I wanted it to be as short as possible. Here is where I just decided to take care of all of the pointless running around of the region until I was allowed to fight Wallace and access Sky Pillar, which was when I was able to evolve Totodile into Croconaw at level 18, and then Feraligatr at level 30 while jumping around. I captured the only non-legendary Pokemon of this section, Ariados, inside of Sky Pillar, which I immediately bred and hatched a Spinarak. After the final encounter with Zinnia, I managed to capture Rayquaza after a few Ultra Balls, battle her, and save the planet from the asteroid that Deoxys was inside of, catching him with the Master Ball, since he's an atrocious level 80, the highest level Pokemon in the wild of any game, aside from Arceus in the unreleased Azure Flute event. And then I went back home, and then the game just ended the Delta episode. But we still have 2 more sections left. After the Delta episode, we're able to leave our house again and see that Professor Birch once again is being chased by a Pokemon on Route 101, which just so happens to be a moving Machoke from the beginning of the game. He allows us to grab a Unova starter out of his bag, which I chose Tepig since I know I won't be choosing him in either of my Generation 5 Professor Oak's challenges. Afterwards, we're able to soar into Moss Deep City and grab a free Beldum from Steven's house. And afterwards, we go to Lily Cove City and sail over to the Battle Resort, where I'm able to capture the last few Pokemon of the game, Mantike and Mantine. Somehow, Mantine spawned very quickly after Mantike, which was very nice to me, since the game decided, hey, he's this far, let's throw him one more bone. And I'm very appreciative. Thanks, Alpha Sapphire. I can only hope Heart Gold actually throws me a bone as I progress through that one. Lastly, I'm able to grind up Tepig and Beldum since I still have the Audino Mirage spot, evolving Tepig into Pignite at level 16, Beldum into Metang at level 20,
Pignite into Emboar at level 36,
and Metang into Metagross at level 45. From here, it's time for the Elite Four again. And round 2 is actually pretty difficult when it comes to the level spike, seeing as they're about the mid to high 70s in terms of levels by the end. Luckily, Rayquaza and Deoxys were at least competently leveled for it, along with Hydreigon and Swampert, so I took down Sydney, Phoebe, Glacia, Drake, and Steven in decently quick fashion, leaving only 3 Pokemon for the entire game. And after continuing our save file, we're able to... Really? Birch is being chased by his wife this time. This trope is really getting old. Either way, we're able to get a Sinnoh starter, in which I decided to grab Turtwig, and in 20 minutes of grinding,
I evolved Turtwig into Grotle at level 18.
and into Torterra at level 32. And that's it. No climactic battle, just a starter for a game I won't even be getting to for quite a bit. So let's review here. I was able to catch everything within a time of 112 hours and 45 minutes. So about 40 hours more than Fire Red, which is a pretty tame time in comparison to future games I'll be doing like Heart Gold, Black and White 2. I was also able to get 405 Pokemon out of the available 721 as of Generation 6, which was only a little over 56% of the dex. This is pretty astounding to me, seeing as I thought that I would be getting at least 70% of the dex, and this is fine by me, it makes the challenge much faster. Most of the missing Pokemon were from Generations 5 and 6. Since X and Y were out, there wasn't really a need to put them into Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire since you could just trade. And Generation 5 had a lot missing since it was the biggest regional dex in the series of 156, and you could really just transfer them up through Pokemon Bank. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, go ahead and click that like button, then subscribe, ring that bell maybe if you want to get notified for every upload. I usually upload on Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you really like this content and want to help support me, go ahead and see my Patreon page down below. There's a bunch of cool perks that I think are pretty cool. I don't know if you'll think they're cool, but go ahead and read it. Even just reading it's nice. Also, if you want to go ahead and talk to me and get some updates on the videos, you can go ahead and either follow my Twitter or join my Discord server, which I have both links in the description. I'm going to hopefully be streaming soon as well, so I have my Twitch channel in the description as well, in case I ever decide to get off my butt and decide to stream these games that I'm actually recording footage for. Other than that, I'll see you guys next Wednesday for Mega Man 4. See y'all later.